I'm Anya. Welcome to White Man Story Hour in my backyard. All right, I'm going to focus on a quote that I was reading with Delpit here because it's come up. Madeline's kind of done for the day with reflection. She's like, we don't have to talk about it all the time, so I'm going to talk to the computer for now. As this car comes by, there we go. So the quote was, child-centered whole language and process approaches are needed in order to allow a democratic state of free, autonomous, empowered adults, and because research has shown that children learn best through these methods. Of course, this is in her Silent Dialogue article, and it is something that she hears and wants to address. And I realize this is happening back in the 80s and 90s, but that's the kind of language that we hear today when it comes to classroom practices and whether this pendulum of pedagogy has swung from individuals all the way back to authoritarianism, way the way back to individual learning. And I had never really thought of this child-centered whole language learning as kind of a white liberal construct, and also something that's only accessible if you already have the language and the skills necessary. I know Delpit talks a lot about talking, and I've always had a hard time picking up on nuance as well. I do appreciate when people tell me directly like what they need, and if I get frustrated with this nuance that she's talking about, like let's say in assignments or during interviews when I don't pick up on people's hints to give the correct responses, because it's like they're looking for responses that fit in this language context, then we break it down to somebody that's not even a part of this sort of like white male world of working and of education. And every kind of level down you go on the privilege spectrum, in a sense, or if you're coming from even different linguistic backgrounds, it's like the less access you have to it. She goes on to talk about and explain afterwards that lots of times black students and students from families of color end up really being overly frustrated by the lack of authoritarian or direct power language. And the other assumption there that I've read and been frustrated by in some of our readings previously has been this talk and this categorization of, again, poor families. That's usually how it's put, like in Payne's book, for example, are a lot more authoritarian in their language, while middle-class families, as we call them again, using these coded race terms, are more indirect. And I definitely, in my own parenting, Jade's not here right now. She's at school. I'm going to go pick her up after this. But with Jade, I do a mix of both, where it's like, Jade, put this away, or Jade, I will suggest something to her. I'll be like, Jade, I think it's best that you take a shower now because we're going to go to bed pretty soon. And not realizing that they both hold power in equal positions. So like I am the one directing and she is the one receiving, and neither way actually works out to our benefit sometimes. She gets equally frustrated with each of them in respect to me, again, as authority figure, either pretending that I don't have authority or really stepping it up on the authority front. I guess all this to say, because it's kind of rambling, is like, how does my responsive teaching practice, again, sort of work to reinforce my whiteness and my power over the kids? Because even in these culturally responsive, I don't know what you call them, just like culturally responsive models, I'm still going to end up having power over the kids. I'm going to be the one that says, go sit down. I'm going to be the one that says, it's time for you to take a break. We need to be reading now. So I'm struggling with how much direction and power I have and whether or not that's acceptable. I think that it is so far. Teachers know more than the kids, and we certainly do know more of the institutions and the power rules. But going into a 5th grade next year and kind of I looked it up. It's 50% white, 30% Latino and Latina, so Hispanic population. And then, like, if I do the math right, it's like 15% black students. And so it's a mixed ethnicity, mixed race school. How am I supposed to balance those, I guess, is the question I come away with. I'll think about it. Bye.